Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Unit 5. It is currently Memorial Day, so I hope you are having a safe and happy holiday weekend with your family. I do want to do a quick walkthrough, though, so that you are starting out the week on a good note. All right, so let's take a look at the course. We are, as I mentioned, in Unit 5. So one of the things I want to really talk about this morning, first thing, is that this is almost the end. I mean, we technically are halfway through, but the last 4 weeks are going to go by as quickly as the first 4 weeks did. So if you are missing anything from units 1 through 4, please contact me by email about when I can expect it. If I don't hear from you on things that you have zeros on, those are going to stay zeros. Or certainly you are not going to get a lot of points for them. It is very important that you contact your instructors if you're going to be late with things. I get a lot of emails from advisors, and I think it's great that you reach out to your advisor, but you need to be contacting your own individual instructors by email from your post-student email. It is really part of your responsibility as a student to make sure that we know what's going on. It's fine for it to come from the advisor as well, but please make it a habit to talk to your instructors. With that in mind, though, I do want to mention, and I did this in my other class, so I'm going to do it here. I want to mention that way back at the very beginning, I did share this with you guys on the Ask the Instructor discussion board. And I sometimes get questions on the Ask the Instructor board that really don't belong there. Things that are private and should be sent by email. So if you have a problem going on, say you're in the hospital, or your computer was eaten by your dog, whatever the case may be, if you have a problem that's making you not turn in work on time, that's a case where you need to email me. That's not something you want to post on the Ask the Instructor discussion board. The discussion board feature is there for questions that more than one student might have. So if you don't understand something about the assignment, or you're not sure when something is due, or you feel like there's a massive reason that everybody should get some extra time, which happens from time to time with storms and things of that nature. That's where you ask those questions on the Ask the Instructor discussion board. If you are having your own issues with the grade or with an assignment that you need to redo or you want to redo, that needs to come to me personally and privately through your own post-student email with my post-instructor email. Okay. I know it's confusing, and we tend to, because of social media, we tend to just post things for everybody to see, but there's a big difference between emailing an instructor and posting something on the Ask the Instructor board. So, end of the PSA. So we started in Unit 4 with your pre-writing for your argument essay. And in Unit 5, we are continuing to build towards the argument essay. The full essay is due in week 7. So we do have a little time with it. But it is something that you need to be working on pretty much all the rest of those weeks. Okay. So this week you're only going to be turning in the introduction or the first paragraph, but you still want to be building on what you wrote last week and finding new sources and things of that nature, because by week 7, you're going to have a complete, full argumentative essay. It's going to have an introduction, it's going to have a conclusion, and it's going to need to be at least 3 to 4 pages long in order to get full points. So make sure to be thinking about that as you are reading this week's materials, because it does still focus on that argumentative writing. In the readings and resources, which you want to do before you turn anything in, you have readings on persuasive writing, fact, opinion, and bias, and you have a sample introductory paragraph. Note that this paragraph is about cyberbullying, which is an argumentative topic. However, you can't write about cyberbullying. So when you go to look at this, remember, it is literally just a sample. Notice that it begins with a statement, but then there's a question towards the beginning. That's something that's very common in an introduction. And then the last sentence is the thesis statement, and it lays out not only what the argument is going to be about, but also the main points that are going to be made in the body of the essay. So you want to aim for that in this week's assignment. Now, of course, you may find new reasons or get rid of some reasons. Your thesis may be revised as you finish actually writing the essay, but for now, you do want to have a clear thesis statement, one sentence at the end of the introduction. So this one says, high schools need to implement specific programs surrounding the topic of cyberbullying that provide education on the subject. That is one of the arguments. Intervention for those being bullied or doing the bullying, that's the second point, and severe consequences for acts of cyberbullying. So the argument is that cyberbullying does need to be addressed by high schools in those three ways. So you want something similar with your own topic. Now remember, you've already chosen your topic. It's either going to be childhood obesity in the US, or the sports pay gap between genders, or the should cell phones be banned in classrooms. So those are your three topics that you have already chosen from. So that's what you're going to focus on in your argument essay and your argument essay introduction. For the discussion board this week, you're going to be focusing on facts and opinions. And I do want you to put some extra thought into facts and opinions. People tend to think facts are good and opinions are bad, but that is not how the real world works. So before you just kind of automatically gravitate towards that, I do want you to think about what really is a fact and what really is an opinion. You're going to be reading about that in your readings and resources. So make sure you dig into that before you tackle this discussion board. So your post, of course, is due by Wednesday as usual, and you're going to answer these questions. What would you consider to be the biggest difference between a fact and an opinion? How would you use facts in your writing, and how would you use opinion in your writing? Because you do use both. And then why do you think that people get confused about the difference between a fact and an opinion? Now, there's one paragraph. After that paragraph, you need to have two statements called statement 1 and statement 2. Do not tell us which one is a fact and which one is opinion, but one needs to be a fact and one needs to be an opinion. I also would caution you about phrasing things. You want to phrase it as a fact and phrase it as an opinion. If I were to post statement 1 as the sky is orange, that is not an opinion. That is stated as a fact. It's wrong, it's untrue, but it is still stated as a fact. So don't just make a false statement and call that an opinion. You want one to truly be a fact and one to truly be an opinion. All right. As usual, after Wednesday, you need to come back. You need to have two follow-up statements, two follow-up replies to your classmates by Sunday. In your responses, review the two statements that your classmates included, and of course, talk about which one you think is fact and which one is opinion. How do you know? And of course, you can also consider the use of facts and opinions in society today. How do people use them in their everyday lives? Now, that's something we do see a lot on social media, where people state opinions and pretend they're facts. So you can talk about that as well. And then, of course, like I said, you have the argument essay introduction. So your whole document this week is going to be one paragraph, but remember, we are still using APA, so you have to have the cover page. You probably will not have a reference page unless you do use a source in your introduction. Sometimes we like to use a quotation in the introduction. So of course, if you do, you have to cite that. So you would have the in-text citation and the reference page. But that's what it's going to look like. I'm not going to send you a document this week. I want you to create this on your own. We've done this enough times that you should be there, but you do have previous links in the announcements to documents that are in APA format. So if that helps you, you can go back and get one of those, but I'm not going to post one this week. So your requirements are listed here. It must be at least 7 sentences long. The whole document still needs to be an APA, as I mentioned. You need an introduction that begins with a sentence that hooks the reader, has supporting sentences that set up the issue, give the background, and then ends with a single sentence thesis statement. You should not have any first or second person in the introduction. And of course, it should be well polished and well proofread and all the things that we normally look at. You have a new rubric. This is one specific to the argumentative intro. So please look that over. As usual, I would suggest printing this assignment sheet out so that you remember to look at it both as you are doing it and at the end. All right, everybody, that's all I have for you this week. So I will wish you a good Memorial Day, and I will see you next Monday if I don't talk to you in the meantime.